Joshua Carty has it blocked again! This time.
Have you ever seen a 340-pound man run 61 yards for a game-winning touchdown? Week 3 was pure chaos. One guy ran wild, another turned defense into offense twice, and a 340-pound lineman decided to moonlight as a sprinter. The NFL went off the rails in the best way possible. Welcome to the channel, and for those of you who have been here before, welcome back to the channel. And now, before we start the video, like, comment, and subscribe, and turn on bell notifications. From Jonathan Taylor steamrolling the Titans to Isaiah Rodgers rewriting defensive history, these were the players who didn't just show up, they hijacked the highlight reel and made Week 3 feel like football's own action movie. Let's start with the guy who treated the Titans' defense like a speed bump. Jonathan Taylor went full beast mode against the Tennessee Titans. The Colts destroyed them 41-20, and Taylor was the one doing the destroying. 17 carries, 102 rushing yards, and 3 touchdowns. That's not a stat line, that's a declaration of war. The Titans' defense? More like traffic cones in a blue jersey. Every single carry was punishment. Every touchdown run felt inevitable. And by the time the game was over, Taylor wasn't just winning. He was sending a message that the entire AFC heard loud and clear. The Colts offense didn't have a playbook this game. They had Jonathan Taylor. He controlled the clock like he owned it, punished the box like it owed him money, and finished drives like a heat-seeking missile locked onto the end zone. Coach Shane Steichen and the offensive line gave him the lanes, sure, but Taylor did the rest. Vision, execution, pure power. The kind of old-school ground that makes defensive coordinators want to quit their jobs and sell insurance instead. The league noticed and named him the AFC Offensive Player of the Week. Well-deserved? Absolutely. The man carried the Colts' offensive line like a soldier on a mission, and that mission was to embarrass Tennessee on national television. He succeeded. The Titans couldn't stop him. Didn't matter how many guys they put in the box. Didn't matter what adjustments they tried. Taylor was inevitable, and the Titans learned that the hard way, like trying to stop a runaway train with a stop sign. But while Taylor was bulldozing defenses, one guy up north was rewriting the record books, all by himself. Isaiah Rodgers, the one-man takeaway machine, Vikings versus Bengals. Isaiah Rodgers didn't just play defense against the Bengals, he became the offense. An 87-yard pick six, a 67-yard fumble return touchdown, 2 forced fumbles. This man was out here collecting souvenirs like it was Black Friday and everything was free. The Vikings dominated Cincinnati, and Rodgers was the star of that beatdown. Let's break down this insanity because what Rodgers did was historic. First, the 87-yard interception return. He read the play, jumped the route, snatched the ball out of the air, and took it to the house. Clean. Fast, devastating. The Bengals offense didn't even have time to process what happened before Rodgers was already celebrating in the end zone. Then, not satisfied with one defensive touchdown, Rodgers forced a fumble, recovered it himself, and ran 67 yards for another score. In the same game, in the first half, the Bengals must have been wondering if they accidentally showed up to play against the Harlem Globetrotters because Rodgers was making them look absolutely silly. And here's where it gets even crazier. Isaiah Rodgers became the first player in NFL history to have that exact combination in one game. An interception return touchdown, a fumble return touchdown, and 2 forced fumbles all in one performance. That's not just a great game, that's a record-breaking, once-in-a-lifetime, are you kidding me kind of performance that will be talked about for years. The league took notice and named him NFC Defensive Player of the Week. Yeah, no debate there, none whatsoever. Vikings head coach Kevin O'Connell gave Rodgers the game ball in the locker room, and the entire team erupted. This wasn't just about making plays. This was about completely flipping the momentum, hijacking the narrative, and making sure everyone watching knew his name by the end of the night. Rodgers didn't just contribute to the win, he was the winner. Simple as that. And if you thought that was wild, wait till you see how a 340-pound giant decided he wanted to be a sprinter. Jordan Davis, the big man's miracle. Eagles versus Rams. Jordan Davis blocked a field goal as time expired, then picked up the ball and rumbled 61 yards for a touchdown. That's right, a defensive tackle, 340 pounds, running the length of the field to win the game. Let that sink in for a second, because this was the most viral, most insane, and most Hollywood-ending play of Week 3, and it wasn't even close. The Rams were lining up for a game-tying field goal as the clock hit 0. One kick decides everything. Eagles win or the game goes to overtime. But Jordan Davis had other plans. He exploded through the line, got a hand on the ball, and blocked it. Perfect timing, perfect execution. But here's where it gets crazy. Instead of just celebrating the block and letting the clock run out, Davis scooped up the loose ball and started running. And running 61 yards. A 340-pound man rumbling down the field like he was Derrick Henry. The entire stadium erupted. His teammates were sprinting down the sideline, losing their minds. The Rams players were frozen in disbelief. And Davis, he crossed the goal line, sealed the game 33-26, and instantly became a legend in Philadelphia. Game over. Eagles win. Chaos unleashed. This wasn't just a special teams game. This was a movie ending. The kind of play you watch on repeat because your brain refuses to believe it actually happened. Davis's post-game interview was gold. He was fired up, hyped beyond belief, and probably still processing the fact that he just pulled off one of the most iconic plays in Eagles history. The slow-motion replays were everywhere, social media exploded, and the NFL highlight packages had this at number 1 for a reason. One of the most replayed clips of the week, and it deserved every single view. But Davis wasn't the only Eagle flying high that day. One of his teammates made sure the air game stayed deadly. A.J. Brown, the reliable chaos bringer. Eagles versus Rams. While the spotlight shined on Davis's big man moment, A.J. Brown was out there cooking the Rams secondary like it was Tuesday morning breakfast. 6 catches, 109 yards, and a touchdown. Every catch looked like he was making a personal statement. Every route felt like he was proving a point to someone. And by the end of the game, Brown had done exactly what the Eagles needed, made plays when it mattered most. His 9-yard touchdown catch was smooth. His third down conversions kept drives alive when the offense needed a pulse, and his chunk play down the field gave the Eagles the breathing room they needed to stay ahead. This is what veteran consistency under pressure looks like. No overthinking, no drama, just straight-up production when your team is counting on you to deliver. Brown sparked the drives that set up Davis's final play. Without his production, that Hollywood ending doesn't happen. So while Davis got the viral moment and the social media explosion, A.J. Brown deserves credit for setting the entire stage. The Eagles walked away with a 33-26 win, and Brown made sure everyone remembered that elite receivers show up when the game is on. Simple as that. And on the other sideline, one wide receiver proved you don't have to win the game to win the headlines. Puka Nacua, the stat monster in defeat. Rams versus Eagles. Even in a loss, Puka Nacua refused to stay quiet. 11 catches for 112 yards against the Eagles.
Top of the screen here, first down or second down and 10 from the 48. Deep drop from Stafford. Checks it down.
To a multiple score game.
Stafford off play action. Zips one for Nacua. Puka Nacua to the 35. 15 yards, beating Reed.
The Rams may have fallen short, but Nakua's stat sheet looked like a cheat code. He was everywhere. Short routes, medium conversions, keeping drives alive when the Rams' offense desperately needed someone to step up. And by the end of the game, Nacua had put together one of the top receiving lines of Week 3. 11 catches is volume, 112 yards is production, and doing it against a tough Eagles defense that had been shutting people down all game, that's elite. Nacua proved that even when your team loses, individual greatness still shines through. The Rams couldn't get the W, but Nacua did everything in his power to drag them across the finish line. It just wasn't enough. This is the kind of performance that reminds you that talent doesn't take nights off, a reminder that elite talent shines even when the scoreboard doesn't. Fantasy owners loved it, stat watchers loved it, and anyone who appreciates great receiver play couldn't help but respect what Nacua put on tape. The Rams' offense ran through him, and even though they came up short, Puka Nacua proved he's a problem for any defense in the league. And that wraps up a week where defenses scored, giants sprinted, and fantasy leagues burned. What happens when Week 3 decides to give us pure chaos? Jonathan Taylor steamrolled defenses. Isaiah Rodgers made history with 2 defensive touchdowns. Jordan Davis blocked a kick and rumbled 61 yards to win the game. Week 3 had everything: record plays, redemption stories, and moments that felt straight out of a video game. Smash that like button if Jordan Davis running 61 yards had you losing your mind. Drop a comment telling me which standout blew you away the most, because if this is just the beginning, buckle up. Week 4 might just top it all.